So, hello everyone. Welcome again to our lesson. And here we will continue our lesson where we stopped last time. So, a big part of CWTS is understanding what it means to be a good citizen. So, last time we discussed the qualifications on how to vote and what it means to be a good citizen. So, good citizenship means actively contributing to your community and protecting the rights of others. So, here in the Philippines, this is reflected in the Bill of Rights, which ensures our freedom and rights as citizens and respected and protected. So, it also means following our duties and responsibilities as citizens, such as obeying the laws, voting, and contributing to the welfare of the society. So, what is Republic Act 9165? So, RA 9165, known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, mandates the government to aggressively combat drug trafficking and use. It also imposes strict penalties on those involved in the import, sale, manufacture, and use of illegal drugs, with the severity of the punishment depending on the crime. So the law also offers mechanism for drug dependents to undergo rehab and treatment. So these programs aim to help individuals recover from addiction and also reintegrate it into society. So, ayan no. So, in other words, RA 9165 emphasizes both law enforcement and rehabilitation to address the country's drug problem. So here, importation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. So this provision from the RA 9165 states or outlines the severe penalties for anyone involved in importing dangerous drugs into the Philippines. So if a person imports any illegal drugs, no, such as katong mga na-mention last time sa atong class, shabu and marijuana without legal authorization. So they face a penalty of life imprisonment to death, no? And along with the imprisonment, the offender can be fined between 500,000 to 10 million, regardless of how much or how pure the drugs are. So this law applies even if the drugs or substances are intended for non-drug purposes like decoration or cooking. Okay, so the harsh penalties reflect the government's firm stance against drug trafficking. Dili din ni atik-atik, no? Next. So here, the penalty of imprisonment ranging from 12 years and 1 day to 20 years, and a fine ranging from 100,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos shall be issued upon any person who, unless authorized by law, shall import any controlled precursor and essential chemical. So, if someone illegally imports controlled precursors or essential chemicals, they can face a prison sentence of 12 to 20 years. And in addition to the imprisonment, they will be fined 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. Okay? So these chemicals are strictly regulated because they can be used to produce illegal drugs. Next, so the maximum penalty provided for under this section shall be imposed upon any person who, unless authorized under the Act, shall import or bring into the Philippines any dangerous drug or controlled precursor and essential chemical through the use of a diplomatic passport, diplomatic facilities, or any other means involving his/her official status intended to facilitate the unlawful entry of the same. In addition, the diplomatic passport shall be confiscated and cancelled. So this means that if someone illegally imports dangerous drugs using a diplomatic passport or their official status to help smuggle these substances, so they will receive the maximum penalty, which is life imprisonment and or additional fines. Okay. So additionally, their diplomatic passport will be confiscated and cancelled. So this is meant to prevent abuse of diplomatic privileges for drug smuggling. Next, so the maximum penalty provided for under this section shall be imposed upon any person who organizes, manages, or acts as a financer of any of the illegal activities prescribed in the section. So, meaning the maximum penalty will also be given to anyone who organizes, manages, or finances illegal drug activities. These people are considered the key players in the operation and face harsher penalties for their involvement. Next, so the penalty of 12 years and 1 day to 20 years of imprisonment shall be ranging from 100,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos shall be imposed upon any person who acts as a protector, cuddler of any of the provisions under this section. So, a person who acts as a protector or cuddler. So, ang cuddler, this means someone who hides or shields violators of the law. Take note of the word cuddler. Will face 12 to 20 years in prison and a fine between 100,000 and 500,000 pesos. So this penalty targets those who help drug offenders evade justice. Next, we have sale, trading, administration, dispensation, delivery, distribution, and transportation of dangerous drugs or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. So, the penalty of life imprisonment to death and a fine ranging from 500,000 pesos to 10 million pesos shall be imposed upon any person who, unless authorized by law, shall sell, administer, dispense, deliver, give away to another, distribute, dispatch, in transit, or transport any dangerous drug, including any and all species of these drugs, regardless of the quantity and purity involved, or shall act as a um, company of such transaction. So, um, under RA 9165, any person who, without legal authorization, sells, trades, administers, dispense, deliver, give away, distribute, or transports dangerous drug will face the penalty of life imprisonment to death. And in addition, they will also be fined between 500,000 pesos and 10 million pesos. So this penalty also applies to individuals who act as brokers in these illegal drug transactions, regardless of the quantity or purity of the drugs. So the law is designed to heavily punish anyone involved in the distribution or movement of dangerous drugs to prevent drug circulation in the country. Next, so if the penalty of imprisonment ranging from 12 years to 1 year and a fine ranging from 100,000 to 500,000. So if someone sells or delivers, distributes, transports chemicals used to make dangerous drugs without legal permission, so they can be imprisoned for 12 to 20 years and fined between 100,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos. And also, if a drug pusher uses minors or mentally incapacitated individuals to help with drug activities, like acting as runners or couriers, they will receive the maximum penalty, which is the harshest punishment allowed by the law. So this ensures stricter punishment for those who exploit vulnerable individuals in drug crimes. So next, if a crime involves a minor or a mentally incapacitated person as the victim, or if the use of a dangerous drug or controlled chemical directly causes the victim's death, so the maximum penalty under the law will be applied. So this means the most severe punishment is enforced to reflect the seriousness of the crime and the vulnerability of the victim. So also, anyone who acts as a protector or a cuddler for someone violating drug laws will face a prison sentence of 12 years to 20 years and a fine between 100,000 and 500,000. So this targets those who help or shield drug offenders from fixing justice, emphasizing that aiding violators is also a serious crime. And so under RA 9165, if someone maintains a den, dive, or resort places, these are places where illegal drug activities occur without legal authorization. So they will face a prison sentence of 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. And additionally, they will be fined between 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. Okay? So it underscores that maintaining such places is a serious offense, which contributes to the overall drug problem in our society. Next, so again, if someone runs a place, a den, a dive, or a resort where controlled chemicals are used or sold without legal permission, they can be sent to prison for 12 to 20 years and receive a fine. And if someone dies from using a dangerous drug in that place, the owner or operator will face the death penalty and will also be fined between 1 million to 15 million. And this severe penalty is meant to hold them accountable for allowing such dangerous activities to occur. So next, if a den, a dive, or a resort is owned by someone else and is used for illegal drug activities, that property will be confiscated by the government. So, however, the criminal complaint must clearly state that the place was intentionally used for these activities. So, the prosecution must also show that the owner knew about these and allowed this use. The owner will be included as an accused person in the legal case. The maximum penalty will be applied to anyone who organizes, manages, or finances illegal drug activities in these places. So this means that those who play key roles in running or supporting these illegal operations will face the harshest punishment allowed by the law. Next, so if someone acts as a protector or a cuddler for anyone breaking the law in a den, dive, or resort, like helping them avoid arrest, they can face 12 years and 1 day to 20 years in prison and also be fined. So this applies to people who enable or shield violators from facing consequences for their illegal actions. Similarly, anyone who acts as a protector or a cuddler of a person violating the law in these places will also face the same penalty. So they will also be charged a fine ranging from 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. Next, with regards to employees and visitors of a den, dive, or resort. So, individual with a den, dive, or resort where places where illegal drug activities happen can face serious penalties. So, for employees, if an employee knows that the place is being used for illegal drug activities, they can be imprisoned for 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. So, this is to hold workers accountable for their role in facilitating drug use or sales. And for visitors, anyone who visits such a place knowing it is involved in illegal activities but it is not an employee can also face the same penalties. This means that simply being aware of the illegal nature of the location and still choosing to enter it can result in serious legal consequences. Next, with regards to the manufacture of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. And so if someone manufactures dangerous drugs without legal permission, so they can face severe penalties, including life imprisonment to death and a fine to 500,000 to 10 million. And also, if a person manufactures controlled precursors and essential chemicals without proper authorization, they will face a prison sentence of 12 years to 20 years and a fine again between 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. Okay, so this law targets those involved in producing the chemicals necessary for drug recreation, recognizing their role in the illegal drug trade. Next, the presence of controlled precursors, essential chemicals, or laboratory equipment in a clandestine laboratory is considered clear evidence that dangerous drugs are being manufactured there. And additionally, certain circumstances will make the situation worse if they are present. So, first, involvement of minors. So, if any part of the drug manufacturing process occurs in the presence of minors, it will be viewed as more serious. Another one is the proximity to sensitive locations. If the lab is set up within 100 meters of residential areas, businesses, churches, or schools, this will also be considered an aggravating factor. And then another is the use of booby traps. If the lab is protected with booby traps, it suggests an intent to harm or deter law enforcement, which increases the seriousness of the offense. And next, concealment with legitimate businesses. So if the lab is hidden behind a legitimate business, This shows an effort to disguise illegal activities, which adds to the severity. And employment of certain individuals. So if individuals with specialized knowledge, like chemical engineers, public officials, or foreigners, are being employed at the lab, so this can indicate more serious intent and capability in drug manufacturing. So the maximum penalty will be applied to anyone who organizes, manages, or finances illegal drug manufacturing activities. So this means that those who play key roles in running or funding these operations will face the harshest punishment allowed by law. And anyone who acts as a protector again or a cuddler for someone violating the laws related to drug manufacturing will face 12 years to 20 years. This means that individuals who will help again offenders will be held accountable and punished under the law. So, in terms of illegal chemical diversion of controlled precursors and essential chemicals, so if someone illegally diverts controlled precursor and essential chemicals without legal authorization can face imprisonment and a fine. And um, again, this will target individuals who improperly redirect or misuse these chemicals, which can contribute to illegal drug production and trafficking. And again, if a person, with regards to the manufacture or delivery of equipment, instrument, apparatus, and other paraphernalia for dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals, they should know or should reasonably know that these items will be used for illegal drug activities like planting, organic growing something, manufacturing, or concealing dangerous drugs or controlled chemicals. So they will face serious penalties. So they will be fined and they will be imprisoned. And next, and also if someone possesses or delivers equipment or tools specifically for the purpose of injecting, ingesting, inhaling, or otherwise introducing dangerous drugs into the human body, they will face a lighter penalty compared to more serious drug offense. So again, they will be fined for 6 months to 4 years, and the fine imprisoned, and they will also be fined from 10,000 pesos to 50,000 pesos. So the maximum penalty will also apply to anyone who uses a minor or mentally incapacitated person to deliver equipment, instruments, or paraphernalia for dangerous drugs. So ang pasabot ani that if someone exploits vulnerable individuals to carry or provide drug-related tools, they will face the harshest punishment outlined in the law. Next, with regards to possession of dangerous drug, if a person possesses any dangerous drug without legal authorization, they can face severe penalties depending on the quantity of the drug. So the penalties include life imprisonment to death penalty. Also, a fine from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. So the following specific quantities of drugs are outlined in the law as threshold amounts for these severe penalties. So 10 grams or more of opium, 10 grams or more of morphine, 10 grams or more of heroin, 10 grams or more of cocaine, 50 grams or more of methamphetamine hydrochloride or commonly known as shabu, and 10 grams or more of marijuana. Okay, 10 grams or more of other dangerous drugs such as MDMA, PMA, TMA, LSD, and GH, or any similar new drugs that have no therapeutic use or are possessed in amounts far exceeding medical needs. Okay, so this means that this aims to deter individuals from possessing large quantities of dangerous drugs, indicating that possession at or above these specific amounts is treated as a serious crime. Next, so if the quantity of the dangerous drug is less than the previously mentioned amounts, the penalties are graduated as follows. So for shabu, if someone possesses 10 grams or more but less than 50 grams, they face life imprisonment. A fine also ranging from 400,000 to 500,000 pesos for other dangerous drugs, including opium, morphine, cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. And if the quantities are 5 grams or more but less than 10 grams of any of these other drugs such as marijuana, shabu, katong MDMA, PMA, GHB, or others, so 300 grams or more but less than 500 grams of marijuana, the penalties include imprisonment for 20 years and a fine ranging from 400,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos. Okay? And if the quantity of the drug is less than 5 grams of substance such as opium, morphine, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, resin, or shabu, uh, or if the marijuana possessed is less than 300 grams, the penalties are imprisonment for 12 years to 20 years and a fine ranging from 300,000 to 400,000. So if a person possesses or controls any equipment or paraphernalia intended for smoking, consuming, administering, injecting, or otherwise introducing dangerous drugs into the body without legal authorization, they will face imprisonment for 6 months to 4 years and a fine. They will pay a fine ranging from 10,000 to 50,000 pesos. However, medical practitioners and other professionals who need such equipment for their work are exempted, provided that these follow guidelines established by the appropriate authority. So, this provision emphasizes that possessing drug related paraphernalia is a serious offense unless it is for legitimate authorized medical purposes. Next, so if someone possesses equipment or paraphernalia intended for smoking, consuming, or using drugs, this possession will be considered as prima facie evidence. Unsa may pasabot ani, meaning it's sufficient to prove fact unless disproven. So that the person has actually used a dangerous drug. Therefore, they are presumed to have violated Section 15 of the law concerning drug use. This means that simply having such equipment can lead to the assumption that the person has engaged in illegal drug activity, placing the burden on them to prove otherwise. Next, with regards to the possession of dangerous drugs during parties, social gatherings, or meetings. So, if a person is found with any dangerous drugs during a party, a social gathering, or a meeting, or in the presence of at least two other people, they will face the maximum penalties outlined in Section 11 of the law, regardless of how much or what kind of drug they have. So, meaning that the law treat such possession every any amount in social settings. Next, the term company of at least two persons means that there must be the accused individual plus at least two other present. So these other individuals do not need to be in possession of drugs themselves for the penalties to apply. This provision aims to discourage drug use in social contexts by imposing strict penalties on anyone caught with drugs in a group setting. Next, in terms of the possession of equipment, instrument, apparatus, and other paraphernalia for dangerous drugs during parties, social gatherings, or meeting. So if a person is found with any equipment, any instrument, apparatus, or any paraphernalia intended for using dangerous drug, so they will face the maximum penalty specified in Section 12. So this rule emphasizes the seriousness of drug use in social um, gatherings. So the use of dangerous drugs, if a person is caught using dangerous drugs and tests positive for it after a confirmatory test, they will face a minimum penalty of 6 months of rehabilitation in a government facility for their first offense. So this penalty is part of the law's provision for addressing the drug use. And if the same person is caught using dangerous drugs a second time, they will face a more severe penalty of imprisonment for 6 years and 1 day to 12 years and a fine between 50,000 to 200,000. So kung first time nimo, you will just undergo rehab and the second time you will be imprisoned. However, this section does not apply if the person is also found to be in possession of dangerous drugs in quantities specified under Section 11 of the law, in which case harsher penalties would apply. So, with regards to the cultivation or culture of plants classified as dangerous drugs or sources thereof, so if a person is found planting, cultivating, or growing marijuana, opium poppy, or any other plant that is classified as a dangerous drug or can be used to produce dangerous drugs can face severe consequences that includes life imprisonment to death, and they will also pay a fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million. However, there is an exception for medical laboratories and research centers that cultivate these plants for medical experiments or research purposes. In this case, the board will set guidelines to ensure that the cultivation, handling, experimentation, and disposal of these plants are done properly and legally. So, this allows for scientific and medical advancements while still imposing strict penalties on illegal cultivation. And if any plants classified as dangerous drugs are grown on land or in greenhouses, that land or part of it will be confiscated and taken by the government. However, the owner can avoid this if they can prove they were unaware of the cultivation despite having done their best to monitor their property. If the land is public land, the person responsible for the cultivation will face the maximum penalty specified in this section. So the maximum penalty will also apply to anyone who organizes, manages, or acts as a financer of the illegal cultivation activities described. Pasabot ani that anyone who plays a significant role in supporting or funding illegal activities will face severe consequences. And anyone who acts as a protector or a cuddler, so any cuddler means someone who shields or support of anyone violating this law will receive a penalty of 12 years to 20 years in prison, along with a fine ranging from 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. And with regards to the maintenance and keeping of original records of transactions on dangerous drugs and or controlled precursor and essential chemicals, any practitioner like doctors, pharmacists, manufacturer, wholesaler, importer, distributor, dealer, or retailer who does not properly maintain or keep original records of transactions involving dangerous drugs or controlled chemical will face imprisonment of 1 year to 6 years and have to pay a fine from 10,000 pesos to 50,000 pesos. And in addition to the imprisonment and fines, if the violator is a practitioner, they may lose their professional license. If they are a manufacturer, seller, importer, distributor, dealer, or retailer, they may have their business license revoked. So this additional penalty serves to reinforce the importance of compliance with the law and the proper handling of dangerous drugs. And with regards to the unnecessary prescription of dangerous drug, so if a practitioner, a doctor or a psychiatrist prescribe a dangerous drug to someone whose condition does not warrant its use or prescribes it in an excessive dosage, they will face serious penalty. So they will be imprisoned of 12 years to 20 years and pay a fine of 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. And the revocation of their medical license. So this law aims to prevent misuse and ensure that dangerous drugs are prescribed only when truly necessary for the patient's health as assessed by experts in the field. And with regards to unlawful prescription of dangerous drugs, if a person issues or creates a prescription for any drug without legal authorization, again, they will face life imprisonment to death penalty and ayan. So here, the Philippine drug situation, as revealed in the 2019 statistical report from the DDB or the Dangerous Drugs Board, patient, uh, it paints a concerning picture of substance abuse across the nation. So, shabu or methamphetamine hydrochloride has emerged as the most abused drug, comprising an overwhelming 93.72% of all admissions related to drug abuse. So, in contrast, ang cannabis or marijuana accounts for 22.59%, no? While contact cement, locally referred to as rugby or ruby, represents a mere 0.73% of the cases. So gender disparities are stark, with males making up 89% of those admitted for drug-related issues. This translates to a significant male-to-female ratio of 9:1, indicating that drug abuse is predominantly a male issue in the Philippines. And the ages of those affected span a wide range, with the youngest user recorded at just 7 years old and the oldest at 68, highlighting the troubling reality that drug abuse knows no age boundaries. When examining the marital status, the data reveals that nearly half of the admitted individuals are single at 49.28%, followed by 25.54% who are married and 21.10% living with partners. The remaining 4.07% includes individuals who are widowed, separated, divorced, or annulled. So this demographic data suggests that drug abuse impacts a variety of relationship statuses, potentially indicating underlying social issues that could drive individuals towards substance use. And the educational background of users also warrants attention. 27.99% of admitted cases involve individuals at the high school level, while 19.11% are high school graduates and 18.71% have completed college. So these figures reveal that drug abuse is prevalent among those with varying degrees of educational attainment, suggesting a need for a comprehensive drug education programs targeting students at all levels. Employment status reveals that over half of those affected, 55.31%, are employed in various capacities, including workers, employees, and self employed individuals. In contrast, 39.45% of users are unemployed, with a small percentage of students 3.65% and out of school youth 1.55% among the admitted cases. The higher rate of unemployment among drug users highlights a potential correlation between joblessness and substance abuse, underscoring the importance of addressing economic factors in the fight against addiction. Geographically, the data shows that 32.41% of reported cases are from the NCR, or National Capital Region, with nearly 14.92% hailing from Region 4A known as Calabarzon. This concentration of cases in urban areas points to the necessity of targeted intervention in these regions, including community programs and enhanced law enforcement's efforts to combat drug trafficking and abuse. So, here in summary, the 2019 DDP report illustrates the urgent need for a multifaceted approach to tackle drug abuse in the Philippines. This situation demands a combination of prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation efforts, with particular attention to education and employment initiatives. So, we need to address the underlying social and economic factors contributing to drug abuse so that the Philippines can work toward a healthier drug free future for its citizens. So, here, what is the value of the youth in participating the drug prevention? So, youth participation in drug prevention initiative is crucial for building a healthier, safer society. So, engaging young people in these efforts not only empowers them, but also fosters a culture of responsibility and awareness. So, here, the first one is development of morals and character. So, participating in drug prevention programs helps youth cultivate strong moral values and character. Through discussions, workshops, and community activities, they learn about the consequences of drug use and the importance of making informed choices. This process encourages them to develop empathy, integrity, and a sense of responsibility toward themselves and their peers. Next is their peer influence and listening young people. Young people are more likely to listen to their peers than to authority figures. So when youth engage in drug prevention efforts, they become role models and advocates for their peers. So this peer-to-peer communication can effectively convey important messages about the dangers of drug use and promote healthier lifestyle choices. And by sharing their experiences and knowledge, they create a supportive network that encourages positive behavior. So the third one, a foundation of a good adult life. So um, a foundation for a good adult life involvement in drug prevention lays the groundwork for a successful and fulfilling adult life. And by participating in these initiatives, young people learn essential life skills such as critical thinking, teamwork, and leadership. These skills are not only vital for their personal growth, but also for their future careers and community engagement. Establishing a foundation of healthy habits and values during youth can lead to a more productive and drug free adulthood. And lastly, a direct reflection of what young people want and need. So, reflection of youth needs and desires. Youth participation in drug prevention effort is a direct reflection of what young people want and need in their lives. So, engaging them in the process allows for the identification of their concerns, aspirations, and challenges regarding substance use. So, this feedback is valuable for tailoring programs and interventions that resonate with their experiences and perspectives. So, when young people feel heard and involved, they are more likely to invest in and support prevention initiatives. So, preventing drug use is essential for maintaining a healthy lifestyle and ensuring a positive future. Here are 10 effective strategies to help individuals, especially young youth, or steer clear of substance abuse. So, number one, don't give in to peer pressure. So, peer pressure can significantly influence decisions regarding drug use. So it is crucial to develop the confidence to stand firm against peer pressure by surrounding oneself with supportive friends and practicing assertiveness. Now, always remember that ang mga true friend will respect your choices and your values. Number two, develop close family ties. So, strong family relationships provide a crucial support system that can help deter drug use. Open communication, trust, and emotional support within the family create a safe environment where individuals feel valued and less likely turn to drugs for solace. Third is learn coping mechanisms. So, life can be stressful, and it's essential to learn healthy ways to cope with challenges. So, developing skills such as problem solving, stress management, and emotional regulation can help people navigate difficulties without resorting to drugs. And the fourth one is abstinence. So choosing to abstain from drugs entirely is a proactive approach to prevention. Understanding the risks associated with drug use and committing to a drug free lifestyle can safeguard against addiction and its consequences. Five is education. So, knowledge is power. That's why educating oneself about the dangers of drug use, including the physical, emotional, and legal consequences, can instill a sense of awareness and motivate individuals to make healthier choices and live a healthy, well balanced life. So, engaging in a balanced lifestyle that includes regular physical activity, a nutritious diet, and adequate sleep can boost overall well being and reduce the temptation to use drug as a coping mechanism. Seven, take time for yourself. So, self care is essential for maintaining mental and emotional health. So, that's why naata sa DNSC we have a mental health break. So, setting aside time for hobbies, relaxation, and activities that bring joy can reduce the likelihood of turning to drugs as as escape. 8. Employ mindfulness activities. So, um, mindfulness practices such as meditation, yoga, and deep breathing exercises can enhance self-awareness and emotional regulation. And these activities can help individuals manage their stress and anxiety. Next, only use prescribed medication. So if medication is necessary, it's crucial to use it responsibly and only as prescribed by a healthcare professional. So misusing prescription drugs can lead to dependence and opens the door to other substance abuse. And lastly, get professional help. So if you or someone you know is struggling with substance use or addiction, seeking professional help is vital. So counseling, therapy, and support groups can provide the necessary guidance and support to overcome challenges related to drug use. So to effectively engage in drug prevention and control, it is essential to cultivate a strong group. So a strong group, this is a acronym characterized by key qualities that empower individuals and communities to combat substance abuse. And each letter represents a fundamental trait that contributes to a successful initiative. So when we say strong, so S uh, refers to steadfast personality. So a steadfast personality embodies commitment and resilience. Members of a strong group remain dedicated to their goals, demonstrating unwavering support for one another and the cause. This persistence fosters a stable environment where efforts to prevent drug use can thrive regardless of challenges. Next is letter T. T is for trustworthy in words and deeds. So, trustworthiness is vital in building a strong foundation within any group. Members must be reliable, ensuring that their actions align with their promises. This integrity not only strengthens relationship but also enhances the group's credibility within the community. Next are R is for respectable in relating to others. So respect is crucial in establishing positive interactions and fostering an inclusive atmosphere. So a strong group prioritizes treating everyone with dignity, valuing diverse perspectives, and promoting healthy dialogue. Next, letter O. O means open-minded in facing situations. So open-mindedness allows members to approach challenges with flexibility and creativity. So being receptive to new ideas and solutions enables the group to adapt strategies as needed. Okay, next, letter N, noble character. So a noble character reflects integrity, honesty, and to commitment to ethical principles. So members of a strong group embody these values, inspiring other people to do the same. And lastly, letter G, gusty actions and ideas. So courageous actions and innovative ideas are essential for effective drug prevention and control. So a strong group is not afraid to take bold steps, challenging the status quo and advocate for change. This bravery can inspire others to join the cause, creating a ripple effect that amplifies their efforts. Okay? So here in conclusion, fostering these characteristics within a strong group, S, T, R, O, and G, So individuals can significantly enhance their impact on drug prevention and control initiatives. So together, they create a supportive and proactive environment that empowers communities to combat substance abuse and promote healthier lifestyle. So that would be all for this lesson. Thank you, and I hope you've learned something.